Hey, welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Criterion and Classics. This is the show on the FilmSpeak channel where we talk classic movies, talk Criterion films, indie movies, art house movies, all the films that you probably haven't seen, but you should. So that's what this whole show is about. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Griffin Schiller, and I'm joined by my good friend and I guess colleague Tyler Tompkins. Tyler, how are you doing?
Good, man. How you doing? Excited to be talking about movies this
I
morning.
yeah. I'm very excited, and I'm also happy because I was able to get a haircut. So that was like a
Oh, me
big
too.
that's
Yeah,
that's
me
been the
too.
big thing this week. Is like,
Yeah.
oh, I was able to go get a haircut this week. So yeah, it was really nice. But yeah, I mean, well, what have you been up to? It's been a while. I feel like these shows are good for two reasons. One, we can talk about the movies at hand, but then also I can just like ask you how you're doing and what you've been up to.
I'm good, man. I'm still behind on like a lot of movies, like the recent stuff. I'm still kind of holding out hope that like King of Staten Island and maybe The Five
Yeah,
Bloods will come to theaters when they open up here in LA.
I
I'm
don't think
getting,
that's gonna happen.
I don't, it probably won't, but I did watch Artemis Fowl. I got around to that one because I
You
know
got
that's
around to
never coming
that
to a
one.
theater.
Of course,
I
you
didn't
ever.
Well, I didn't really like. I didn't think it was that good, but I didn't hate it as much as others did. I didn't think it was like the
Yeah,
worst movie ever made.
yeah.
But yeah, I watched that, and then I watched last night the new Joseph Gordon-Levitt movie, 7500,
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one. That one came out. Yeah,
which was
for
good.
sure.
I liked it. It was really solid.
Yeah, for sure. That's good. No, you got to check Defy Bloods though when you get a chance.
I know. I'm trying to
It's
see both, dude.
yeah, that one's really. I still have yet to see King of Staten Island, but Defy Bloods is for sure really good. Speaking of socially important films, we just brought up the Five Bloods. The film we're going to be talking about today, Haine, is one of those movies. Haine was actually brought to us by a viewer, Shift YSL. His name is Ethan, and actually he is joining us today. So we are going to introduce him here. Ethan, say hello to everyone. We are live. We're
Yo,
talking about Haine, man. So thanks for coming on, and thanks for bringing it to our attention.
what's going on, guys? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, for sure, dude. Um, so Lahane is directed by Mathieu. What's it? Kovac. I forget his last name. It's
Yeah,
Kassovitz.
Kassovitz?
Cassovitz.
Yeah, Kassovitz. Yeah. So Matthew Kassovitz, and it basically follows these three guys in France in the projects basically during what do you call it? Well, I guess in the '90s when a bunch of like riots were breaking out due to police brutality and whatnot. Needless to say, it's a very timely film to what's going on right now. And actually, I want to pass it to you first, Ethan, because you told me
hmm
you sent me the trailer and you were like, dude, just watch the trailer and you'll be
Yeah.
sold on this film. I was 100% sold on this film. You were absolutely right on that one. But I guess when you first saw this film, what was it that kind of like stuck out
Mhm.
to you that like immediately made you go, okay, this is one of my favorite films of all time?
Well, it's like, first of all, it's like a social thriller. So you kind of get like, you have a thriller that's like, you're on the edge of your seat almost the whole movie. It's building tension up until the end.
Yeah,
And at the same time, it's like one of the most socially relevant films of all time.
yeah,
So it's kind of like, I mean, as an aspiring filmmaker, it's like the most inspiring film I've ever seen. It's like a super low budget movie and it's tackling super big issues. So
yeah, for
it's
sure.
definitely something I'm interested in.
Yeah, no, I definitely get that. And Tyler, you and I were kind of talking about this. And it's like while it came out obviously in a different decade, there are similarities. I think not. I say this, but it's also a very different movie. There are comparisons you can make to Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing. No.
Yeah, no. I mean, whenever I was watching it, that's the movie I thought of so many times, just because of the
Yeah.
way it was, some of the shots and the way Kassovitz implemented music. Very reminiscent of Do the Right Thing, even though it's its own thing. It's not like trying
Yeah.
to copy it or anything, but it does seem that Kassovitz did kind of draw some inspiration from that movie, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. No, which I kind of have to wonder if like if he was, because a lot of this it almost felt like he was drawing from his own personal experiences, and
Yeah,
I have no
yeah,
idea because I didn't read too much into the film, but I definitely got like it was, he saw Do the Right Thing, was probably really inspired by the structure of it, and then really took his own spin on it and did his own thing with it. Uh, but I agree. The first thing that really stuck out to me while watching it was just like the pacing. I mean, this thing is
Hmm.
breakneck. I mean, it's like a brisk 90 minutes or so, and weirdly, it feels longer, but it also feels like we're just constantly moving. Like you don't get a second to breathe in this movie, and it adds to the kind of like relentless feeling that you get while watching it. And in a lot of ways, it kind of reminded me, it gave me a similar feeling to what I felt when I watched Uncut Gems. The constant movement, the constant talking. It really it had that same approach of like these guys were they felt like real people. Embedded with the culture, who were a living part of this community. And I thought that was just like it was so like just I enjoyed watching them go around and interacting with different people, and it was like depending on who they were interacting with, they'd have like a different rapport and whatnot. And yeah, I don't know, that to me was just something that stuck out to me right off the bat. But and
yeah.
then
I thought of Uncut Gems too because it's like
yeah,
sensory overload. There's a lot of people
it
talking
is.
over each other. And I was like,
Yeah,
oh
yeah.
man, I'm really into this. I'm really into this.
Yeah, for sure. Ethan, did you ever, when you were watching Uncut Gems, did some of the stuff that was going on in there kind of remind you of, like the movement in Haine?
Well, I didn't see Lahane until after I saw Uncut Gems, but I definitely see the
Gotcha.
similarities and the way it builds tension and keeps it moving throughout the whole movie from start to
Yeah.
finish.
Yeah, for sure. No, yeah, I definitely get that. I think the other thing that I really like is like I can't take credit for this analogy, but I saw it and it really stuck with me because I think it's so apt. The movie, through this movement and through the constant engagement in the interactions, it almost feels like you're watching like a live version of just like Russian roulette, Like you have
Yeah.
no idea what's gonna happen or like how someone's gonna react in the moment and whatnot. And so it just like it adds to the tension right up until the last shot. Or not even the last shot, but like
The
the end of
last
the
like
movie.
Yeah,
30
Yeah.
seconds is amazing. It's like
Yeah.
it's
it's
perfect.
incredible. Yes, perfect.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
again,
No.
it's kind of like Uncut Gems, like kind of like it's not shock value or anything because it's earned, but it's like,
Right.
oh my goodness.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's what I like about the movie too, is because Vince Cassel's character has this object. I mean, I won't say what it is. Or are we doing spoilers or
Oh yeah,
no?
we're doing no, yeah,
Oh,
this is
okay, yeah,
full
I'm just making
spoiler
sure. So
discussion. Yeah.
yeah,
You're
so
good.
he
Yeah.
has, he has the gun
Yeah.
supposedly that was used to kill someone in the riots, and I love that, man, because you don't know what he's going to do with it throughout the whole thing.
Right.
Because as soon as he reveals that he has that, you're like, anything's possible now. I mean, this dude's very angry about his friend. He's angry
Right.
with the situation he's in and the environment, and he's a loose cannon. Like you don't
Yeah.
know what he's going to do.
Well, and I almost wonder if like because one of the things that I got through his character was like I mean he had a chip on his shoulder basically the whole time. Like he's
Yeah,
trying to he feels backed into a corner the whole movie and I can only assume he's felt that way his entire life. Um but I guess the thing that's interesting to me, and you definitely get this in the mirror scene where he's getting ready and
I love that scene too.
he's doing Robert De
Yeah,
Niro. Yeah, obviously, you get I feel like it does a good job of tackling toxic masculinity and like the circumstances that lead to someone being in that headspace. And I think it's beautifully contrasted with like Hubert, who is he is educated and like he sees things from like I guess he's got a wider perspective on
yeah,
things and sees it for what it is. Whereas like Vince is like he feels like everyone's constantly out to get him, and so he feels like he has to be a tough guy and like whip out his gun and everything and like continue to talk talk game like he's he's like, oh yeah, I would have killed that guy for sure. And it's like you see that this guy is like incredibly insecure with who he is, and the environment that he lives in, and he's not happy about it. And I don't know, Vince was such a fascinating character to explore throughout the whole thing, because you get that, but then you also get, if we're going to compare it to like what's going on in the world today, I also feel like he kind of represents the people who go into these protests or these riots, and they're in it for straight anarchy. They're fulfilling their fantasies and whatnot. And like, I got a little bit of that with him as well. I don't know, Ethan, if that's something that kind of came across to you, but
Yeah. And that's another way it's kind of similar to Do the Right Thing, like with Vincent, and how he kind of subverts your expectation at the end of the movie when you think he's going to shoot someone the whole time, and then he subverts your expectation and he doesn't. Like, he does the right thing. Kind of similar to how Mookie, Spike's character, like, you think he's cool with Sal, but then he's the one that starts the riot at the end of the movie.
Yeah. That's a great. Yeah, that I did enjoy that that comparison there for sure. Well, I'll throw it back to you, Ethan. What are some of the other themes that really stuck out to you while watching the film that you think make it that social hand grenade, if you will?
Well, I guess violence, for one. The film is talking about violence a lot, because you have three kids who aren't involved in violence in any way. Like, there isn't guns in France, and they find this gun, and then they're like submersed into this different culture of violence, and this gun takes them to meet a bunch of people, and they go to Paris, which they've never been to before, and everyone looks at them differently. They go to this drug dealer's house, and then the cops, the people in this nice apartment, they call the cops on Saeed, Hubert, and Vince for just being in the building. And it really puts into perspective like what life was like for people in the riots and the protesters, like just the youth and the marginalized groups of society, like how you have one Jew and one Black Christian and then one Arab Muslim. Yeah. Just all coming together.
Yeah. I think I agree. It's kind of, in a lot of ways, kind of like a horror story for like marginalized people, because it doesn't matter where they go. It's like they could be out at a playground, and like the news people will come over and start assuming that they were at the riots and stuff like. I mean, it's just like the subtleties like that really just. Well, I shouldn't say subtleties is very purposeful, but it's just like little things like that like, I don't know. It just like it hits hard, and like you could see that they're just sick of it, and it's why they start acting up and whatnot. But Tyler, what about you? What were some of the other things that kind of stuck out to you thematically?
Well, one of my favorite parts of the entire movie. This is not really a theme or anything, but it was when they went to go visit Asterix, the friend.
Yeah.
That character was great. Like whenever he's doing the Russian roulette thing, and he didn't actually load the gun like that. That was a really it was a really good scene. That's kind of where like. I didn't really know where the movie was going after he found the gun. I thought he was going to, shoot something and they would be on the run the whole time. But it was just kind of fun seeing them. I don't know. It's almost like the gun made them. I could be totally wrong, but it just made them feel more. I don't know, like confident or something. I don't know. There was just something about it. Cause like
gave them power.
Yeah, because there's no guns allowed or anything, and just whenever they did this, they kind of went on this weird odyssey. In like a span of, I think it's 20 hours, the movie. And that was just, it was fun. Oh, and then what about the old guy in the bathroom when he told that story?
Oh, the Brunwowski speech.
Yeah, dude. Monologue. I like that a lot, man. The guy he went to the bathroom, or he wouldn't go to the bathroom because he didn't want to he didn't want anyone to see him or whatever, right? That's how, that was great, man.
Yeah, it was, I totally agree. That was one of the best scenes in the entire film, and it's like that scene happens, and then the entire like tone, well, maybe not the entire tone, but like the mood, you feel like the mood shift.
That was almost like a magical realism type of thing to me, at least, because it was like it was very unsettling. And then when he left the bathroom, it was almost like a ghost left, or it was very like because they were like, well, that was weird. Like, what was that? I don't know.
I totally agree with that. And the other thing that I love about it is how it's framed. The mirror shot is oh my god, it's so perfect. Beautiful. Yeah, I mean, like there's so many great shots in this movie, but that one in particular is just it's just one of those shots where you go like, I get everything I need to know in this one frame, and it's like it makes sense. I understand what's happening right now, and it's just adding to, I guess, the tension, but then also like the individual beliefs of both Vince and Hubert, and then obviously we have Saeed in the middle there, who is, you know, he kind of occupies both spaces depending on the situation that he's in. But yeah, Ethan, I want to go back to you. What were some of the other, from a cinematography standpoint, what were some of the other shots that really stuck out to you? Because this is a gorgeous film.
Yeah, really any shot of Paris, all of the shots in Paris were just so beautiful in comparison to the projects that they were in. Like they almost used Paris to contrast just how unattractive the aesthetic, I guess you could say, of just the projects compared to Paris, like from a cinematography standpoint.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I guess the scene that kind of comes to mind for me is like the DJ scene, right?
Yeah, I was about to say that scene's awesome.
Oh yeah, the overhead drone
shot.
shot.
Yeah, what a great shot, first of all, but it's like there's like a few ways you could kind of take that, right? So like the whole movie, like the movie starts with like the globe, with the world, right? And then we get like the whole movie is basically about like these three guys are just three people in like a community of people, and like that's why like basically in every single scene there's just like there's a bunch of other things going on. There's people in the background, they're like, you know, talking among other people, there's like break dancers, and so it's like that this scene with the DJ does like a great job of showing like an overview just like of the community and like the culture and the arts and like all the great things that can come out of this environment, even though it's kind of like a hotbed for violence and whatnot. And then like, you know, contrasting that to Paris, obviously, where it's like you know, it's busy, it's clean, it's bougie, you know, all that good stuff. And I think probably my second favorite shot in the whole movie is the establishing shot of that, you know, where it starts out with the wide and then it kind of like narrows in. It's like the dolly zoom sort of thing from that Hitchcock and Spielberg have used. I just thought that was a genius way of establishing three small fish in a really large pond. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, I mean, exactly that. But the cool thing about this movie is like the whole movie's like that. You know, like each shot feels planned. Nothing feels. And okay, when you were talking about the mirror scene earlier, were you referring to the one where you may have been the one where it goes over Vince's shoulder as he's doing the "you talking to me" thing?
No. Well,
you remember that one?
In the bathroom, I think.
Yeah, in the bathroom.
Yeah. So that's what the mirror shot I was talking about was the one right before the old guy comes out and gives.
Okay. Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. The one in the bathroom with Vince. I had seen that shot before on Twitter. Like people, you know, like this is how they filmed that. That is so well executed. Because how they filmed it, Griffin? Like, have you seen before how they did?
No. I did. Did you look it up?
Yeah, I'd seen it before like a long time ago, so I was kind of like waiting for that shot. But basically, the mirror scene, they had an actual guy kind of mimic Vince Cassel, and they went over his shoulder into the frame, and there's really no mirror. Like it's just
a
guy kind of mimicking him, but it looked like flawless.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man, yeah. It's one of those movies that kind of like it ticks all the boxes of like a masterpiece. Like it's confronting, it's socially charged and relevant, honestly timely, right? Or well, not even timeless, I should say.
Yeah.
Because this is taking place in the 90s. This movie could have come out yesterday and like it would have felt like as relevant today, if not more relevant today.
If this movie came out yesterday, it'd win Best Picture at the Oscars.
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, absolutely. Yeah, it's just one of those things that it has that timeless appeal to it, and it's just like incredibly immaculately crafted with great cinematography, and I loved the decision to shoot in black and white.
Me too.
It's it's such a not small choice, but it's such just like it's a bold choice, I guess, that really kind of it sets the tone for the whole thing. And yeah, man, I don't know. thoroughly was riveted the entire time. I mean, it was like I was on the edge of my seat. I had no idea what was going to happen, and with everything that's going on, it's just it's at the when it gets to the end, and both Hubert and Vince die, in the way they die is just it's a gut punch. It just leaves you sitting there, just like, wow, It really leaves it left me speechless for sure. But I see Zach Martian in the chat here. We're gonna address that real quick. He's saying the empty gun Russian roulette scene and its place in a film set during riots invokes a story I heard about Malcolm X, where he took a revolver that supposedly had one chamber loaded, put it to his temple, said, "I'm not afraid to die," and pulled the trigger 3 times. He later confided to one of the witnesses that the gun was empty. That's actually really fascinating. I
know
heard that. Yeah, but that's good. Okay, I guess kind of closing thoughts on Haine here. Ethan, let's start with you. Any other things you want to bring up before we close out?
I feel like we pretty much got everything, to be honest. Yeah. I mean, what is there else that we can say? It's, in my opinion, it's a flawless film. It's one of the greatest films ever made. So,
yeah, no, I agree with you. I think for sure it's I mean, it was one of those movies where it's like similar to you. Immediately after watching it, I'm like, yeah, that's a 5 out of 5. That's literally
exactly.
Masterpiece. Yeah, for sure. Tyler, what about you?
Yeah, I initially had this movie like on Letterboxd. I think I gave it like 4.5 out of 5. But that was just kind of initial reactions. But it's really been sitting with me. And if a movie has like, again, I can't stress how perfect the ending to this movie is. Like the last minute or like last 30 seconds of this movie is so perfect. That it just, to me, I'll bump it up to like a 10 out of 10 or 5 out of 5, whatever, because it's just, it's perfect. It's timeless. I would have liked this movie had there not been stuff going on in the world right now, but the fact that there is stuff going on just makes the movie even better.
Right.
In a way,
right.
Just because it's, like socially relevant. But yeah, flawless movie. Loved it.
Well, and that's the thing, I think the thing that makes it so timeless is like, it's constant, messaging of like, so far so good. We keep patting ourselves on the back for the progress that we've done, and it's not enough. We still have so much to go. I mean, just look at this entire film and the circumstances that led to this, right? So I think the way it leaves you. I also love how it bookends it, right? So it's like the movie starts with Saeed opening his eyes, and then the movie ends with him, the close up on his eyes again. Mm-hmm. So it's just.
And then what's that line? I think he repeats it at the start of the movie and towards the end. It's like, it's not how you fall, but it's how you land. Was that it, or was it? It's not how you.
It was like a saying about a man who falls off a skyscraper.
Yeah, that was really good too. I think they did the same thing. Like it was at the beginning, and then they said it again at the end.
Yeah,
really cool.
I agree. Also that just reminded me. The other one that I loved was the Eiffel Tower sequence, where it's like, it's like the Eiffel Tower is going to turn off right now, and then it's like they leave, and it's like if they had stayed just a few seconds longer, the lights would have actually gone out, and so it's just like I don't know, something like that where I feel like there's a connection between like two people who are in completely different places, know nothing about one another, but there was like something in the universe that basically like kind of connected them in that one moment. And so I don't know. And then the other thing about, the Scarface, poster, they weren't Scarface posters, but it's like the saying, like, the world is yours. And then, Saeed spray painting, the world is ours. I think that was such a powerful scene. I mean, it's true, because it's like, we have to work together to defeat the systemic injustices and the issues that lead to violence and oppression in certain areas of the world, and in these I guess the project areas as they'd call it, and so I don't know, there's a lot. I kind of said it, I didn't even know how to review it last night after I saw it. I basically just on my Letterboxd I was just like, fuck, there's so much to unpack here. It's like I don't even know like how to tackle everything, but I'm like 100% sure that I just witnessed a masterpiece. So it's great. I also give it a 10 out of 10. It's so good. Real quick, addressing the chat here, Zach Marsh saying, The ending to me is also a twisted and more realistic spin on Mercutio's death in Romeo and Juliet, but I think that interpretation depends on who you think dies. That's a good point. I don't know about you guys, but like I kind of took it as they both died. Like
me too. That's kind of what I took away from it too.
Yeah, for sure. Ethan, you as well?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I feel like that's, if you don't interpret it that way, I feel like the message doesn't, hammer home the same, because the whole movie is basically preaching it's like violence incites more violence and hate leads to more hate.
Yeah. No, I'm thinking of a different movie. I watched 7500 last night, and I thought there's a quote before the movie that says, "An eye for an eye makes the whole world blind," which is very fitting for this movie, but I thought it played before Haine, but it doesn't. But very, very fitting quote.
Yeah, for sure. Just heading back to the chat here before we close out. So 402-1971 saying, I haven't seen this movie in about 15 years, but now I want to watch it again. Yeah, it's on the Criterion. Actually, I didn't even realize this until last night. You can watch this film on YouTube for free right now. Like you just
I saw it on YouTube for free too.
Yeah, I was like, just go search like Haine full movie. Boom, right there. Like people have uploaded it, and I have no idea how it's still there, like how that's legal or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. But the good thing about watching it on the Criterion channel is you get all those bonus features. Like I think Jodie Foster did a little thing about it on there, and all that good stuff. And then she's also went on saying, I remember Paris being quite beautiful in black and white. Definitely was the right choice that they didn't film in color. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I definitely agree with that. Well, that, guys, is going to do it for our discussion on Haine. Let us know in the comments section below if you've seen Haine. What are your thoughts in it? And if you haven't seen it, well, we spoiled the movie for you, but hopefully this encourages you to go back and see it. I do want to give a special thank you to our guest, Ethan. Thank you so much, man, for bringing this film to our attention. Yeah, of course, dude. Of course, anytime. You're so great in the chat. You're really supportive. We always appreciate your comments and your kind words. And when you give super chats, it really means a lot to us. But thanks for recommending this film and for coming on. If you have anything you want to plug, let us feel free to let the people know where they can find you, and because I know you're a video editor, so feel free to plug that.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter just at YSL29, and then I have my letterbox linked in my Twitter bio. So
sweet, yeah.
If you're looking for mutuals.
Yeah, there you go. Definitely go check him out. He's great. He gives he's an awesome voice on film Twitter. So, but Mr. Tyler Tompkins, where can everyone find you?
Yeah, it's funny. I was looking for Shifty in the chat, but I was like, oh, he's with us. He's talking. Because usually he's always in the chats, like, where's he?
Yeah. He's actually here for once.
He's like, he's actually here. But no, you can find me on Twitter and Letterboxd, searching my name, Tyler Tompkins. It's a fun time over there, so make sure to follow me.
Yeah, for sure. We were kind of talking about this before the show started. We don't have we've got a loose idea of what we want the next week's film to be. I think, Tyler, you and I were talking about The Red Shoes.
I've never seen it.
Yeah. I've never seen it. I don't think I've ever seen it. It's Martin Scorsese's favorite film of all time.
Which I didn't know. I know Brad Bird loves it, but the fact that it's Martin's favorite movie, I'm like, okay, maybe we should watch this one then.
Yeah, man, he loves that film. Thank you, Zach. Really appreciate the super chat, man. That means a lot. But yeah, anyways, and then guys, if you haven't done so already, like this video, share with your friends, and subscribe to the FilmSpeak channel where the conversation continues after the credits. And if you want to be a part of that conversation, we would love to have you. You can like FilmSpeak on Facebook, follow us on Twitter simply by searching FilmSpeak. And if you like me specifically and you like what I have to say, you can give me a follow on Twitter at Griff Schiller. All right, that's going to do it for this one, guys, and I'll catch you next time. Take care.
Cannonball! This all day. Did you rub my land?
1,000 generations living here now.
Here we go.